Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Empowered to Live, where faith meets purpose and purpose fuels freedom. I am your host, Andrea Butler, and today we are kicking off a brand new series called Breaking Up with Limitations. And so often, the things that hold us back aren't just outside circumstances, sometimes they're patterns, they're habits, or even mindsets that we've grown comfortable with. But if you ever felt something on the inside of you whispering that there's more to life than what you're doing or where you are, this series is for you. And so we are going now, we're going to break up. So this is going to be your breakup song. We're breaking up with limitations. And this is going to be over the next 5 weeks. We're going to be talking about some practical and spiritual steps to break free from limitations that weigh us down. And, I thought about the series that I did back in December. I'll talk about limited beliefs. So if you want to check those out, it was I think, 4-part series on limited beliefs out there on YouTube. If you want to go ahead and check out that series that we do. And so a lot of times it's our thoughts, our limitations, the things that we believe about ourselves, our circumstances, or even the things that we do that sometimes will hold us back. And so today we're going to talk about breaking free from procrastination. And procrastination, it's been I'm working on my breakup song with them because procrastination is still, I would say, still my jam as far as me, and I'm working on that. And so we're going to journey together, breaking up with procrastination. And a lot of times, we get into that state of procrastination because we get overwhelmed. And when we get into that place of overwhelm, sometimes we put things off. I've got lists of things that I needed to accomplish, and I write them down, and then something else will happen, and then I think it's pushed down. And sometimes the urgent gets pushed out because something else becomes more important, and all these things happen. And so we find ourselves in that crunch space because we put stuff off. And I don't know if you were one of those people where you knew you had homework or you had to study for a test, and you put it off, and you put it off until the last minute, and then you were up all night long cramming, trying to study, or staying up late trying to do homework because of the fact that something else happened, or you just forgot, or you just didn't want to do it. And so I think we find ourselves in those spaces where sometimes it's like I don't want to do it, and especially difficult things that we have to do, those things we have to face a lot of times, because in our deep down, in our soul, in our spirit, we know we really don't want to do this thing because it's hard, it's challenging, or whatever. And so we put it off, or we push it away. And sometimes we just plain forget of the things that we need to do. And so procrastination quietly robs us of our time, our energy, and opportunities, and spiritually keeps us from walking boldly into the purpose that God has already packed it inside of us. And so Ecclesiastes chapter 11 reminds us that whoever watches the wind will not plant, and whoever looks at the cloud will not reap. So if you are waiting for, the perfect conditions, or the perfect timing, or whatever, and we fail to act because we are, waiting to get things together. And I even shared when I started this podcast over a year ago, it had been in my heart. I've been thinking about it and thinking about it. And for me, it was trying to get stuff perfect. I wanted to have the right this and the right that. And, things just didn't seem to work out. And, and then one day I just said, self, it's time to do this and stop putting off. You stop waiting for it to be perfect. And I shared about how, I was on a call with a young lady. She was doing a live on Facebook, and, she was in her car, and, I'm not sure, she was trying to eat or do different things. She was doing a lot of stuff all at one time. And, she dropped her phone, which what she was using to record. And she just kept on pushing. And, she kept on talking while she tried to get her phone. And it was all these different things. And I looked at her and I was just like, and people, and we were still engaged with her, even all this chaos was around her. And so she didn't wait for perfection to start. She just did it. She's sitting in her car and stuff was going wrong, but she kept on moving. She kept on pushing. She kept her life going, and she moved on. And I think that was kind of my impetus to break free, to say it doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen. Life is going to happen. When I started this back in December, I got sick. I lost my voice. All this stuff was going on, and so I had to use an old show. We had to. So there's so many different things that happen, and life happens, and you just have to take that step. And you all know, one of my favorite saying is that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with that first step. All the time I'm challenging you. What's one small step? What's one small thing that you can do today to push you forward, to get you moving? What can you let go of? What is that thing that's holding you hostage that you need to release so that you can move forward into the purpose and the plans that God has for us? And sometimes we're waiting for God to move. And God was like, I gave you instructions. You have not obeyed, not one single one of the ones I told you to do. So you're not waiting on me. I'm waiting on you to obey before I gave you additional instructions. And I shared with y'all before, in the military, when we were getting ready, you would get a preparatory command, which it was like command or battalion or platoon or whatever, and so they will call us to attention. So they would get our attention first. And so in that command of preparation, where sometimes God has us in that preparation space, and he's saying, take that small step, move forward, take that class, write a book, sign up for financial aid, whatever it is. What is that small step that you can do today that is going to push you forward into what you are doing before? And so you need that small step. So when they say, platoon, we knew who we were called. And so we had a purpose. And then they would go parade, rest, attention. And so we have that preparatory command and then a command of execution. And so God is saying to you, I've already got you in the preparatory steps, and you've been stuck there forever now. And I've given you the command of execution, but you have not moved. And so God is saying to you today, take that step, move forward, do the thing that I told you to do. What is that small step that you can do? And then maybe you need some spiritual accountability. Invite God into your plans, pray over your to-do list, ask him to highlight what is truly matters for today. Because a lot of times we do a lot of stuff, and we do things that don't propel us forward. And we do that, I think, a lot of times out of fear. And what if it doesn't work out? So what if I do this and it doesn't work? God gave you the command of execution. If he says go, you look at the disciples when he said, let us go to the other side. And he said, we were going to the other side. He got in the boat with them. He went to sleep. Then they got in the middle and the storm happened and they became afraid. So, but he said already, let us go to the other side. So he already given them that command of execution. It's time to go to the other side. I'm with you in the boat and we're going to the other side. But they become afraid. And I think sometimes we do that. And so we procrastinate, we stall out because of that. So we invite God into it to hold us accountable. If you need accountability, I'm a life coach. So if you need help, we're moving through that process. You can, go to my website and book a consultation call and let's talk about, what is holding you back? What are some of those things that you need to let go of? And how can we push forward, and having that accountability person to say, okay, you said you were going to do this. Is it done? And I will remind you and I will hold you accountable to make sure that you get it done. And so that's the important thing. Sometimes you need those people to push you forward to do what you need to do, to get it done. I set reminders for myself as a way to do that. I have my kids hold me accountable. When I say I'm going to do something and they're like, "Did you do it?" you know and I'm like working on it or heading there and doing that, because I know they're going to come back to me and say, "You said you were going to do this." And so they are my accountability. God holds me accountable too. And so when I invite him into my day, and I allow him to take control of my day and of my time, and what needs to take place and what needs to get done. Yeah, and there are things that are going to happen. Life is going to happen. Situations are going to come up that you may not be able to get to everything that's on your to-do list, but you will accomplish the things that matter for that day. So if you have some time wasters, while you're scrolling social media instead of doing what you need to do, ouch. When you're playing video games or whatever games on your phone, or you're just watching TV or whatever it is, that it's chewing up your time. I would say start and is by writing down, how do you spend your day? What are some of the things that you're doing? Log those things that you're doing throughout your day, and take a look. Do it for a week and see where am I spending time? Where are a lot of my hours going that could be focused in on doing this? Where I'm wasting time. And so let's do that. Let's move forward, and stop procrastinating. Stop putting those things off. And speaking to myself too, because that's a challenge. And I know it's a challenge. It's an area of opportunity for me to grow in, and I'm walking in it. And so, we'll get there together, until we fully come into ourselves, and not allow procrastination to continue to steal from us, steal our energy, our joy, our purpose. We'll fully embrace and walk into what it is that we were called to do. And so we'll lead that up. So when you make that first step and you've accomplished it, and then you moved on to the next one, celebrate the progress that you've made. I said it's not about perfection, because I'm a perfectionist. And so I think that's where a lot of times procrastination comes in, because we want things to be perfect. We want things to be good. We want to have all of our ducks in a row. We want to have it all together before we start. And the main thing is just start. Like Nike said, just do it. Andrea is saying, just start. Just start. It's time to start and then celebrate. Celebrate whatever it is that you're doing, whatever that small victory that you had. Celebrate it. When you broke free, when you said, I'll do this tomorrow. You said, you know what? No, I'm going to do this today. And I saw a reel the other day. I think it was yesterday even. And I told you how God works in these things. And it's these birds that talk, and they're cartoons. And the one said to the other, wow, you put away your clothes. And he was just like, yeah, I made one small step. I folded one shirt. And then when I folded one shirt, then I was just like, why not? Let me just go. So that small win of folding up that one item propelled him into completing the other stuff. And he was like, wow, you don't have those piles of dishes, in your room anymore. And he was just, yeah. He's like, yeah. I said, because I am. And he was like, because I am. And he was like, yeah, because I'm getting ready to go downstairs. I'm just going to take them with me instead of letting them sit, which was the past habit. He's like, I'm going downstairs anyway. So I made up my mind that I'm going to take it with me when I go. So what are some of those things that you can do? What habit can you stack? And we talked about that, with stacking activities, exercising while you brush your teeth, praying while you're cooking, all those different things that you can read your Bible while you're sitting on the toilet. All those different things that you can do where you're accomplishing more than one thing. Studying, applying for it, writing. My phone, is a tool that I use to write. And a lot of times I have ideas and whatever, and I open up it pops off to me, wherever I am, and I have my phone with me, put it in the note app, and helps me keep on track with stuff, ideas that come to my mind. And so you have your phone with you can do so many different things, versus playing games or whatever it is, scrolling on social media. Look up things that you can stack together to help in your day, to move you along and to keep you from procrastination. And so as we close out today's episode, I just want to reflect on this question. What important things have I been putting off, and what small step can I take to get started today? So what is something that you've been putting off that you need to get done, and it's been on your to-do list, for weeks, months, years, even, and you have not done it? Move it to the top, and let's get something accomplished today. Let's start and getting that one small step and moving forward, and getting it accomplished today. And so I just want to challenge you, to go ahead and take that step. Joyce Myers, years ago, she had this thing about doing it afraid. And sometimes that's what we have to do. We may have to do it afraid, but we just need to do it. We need to push forward, no longer, carrying it over to the next day or the next week or the next month's to-do list. It's a today list, and get it done today. So I just want to encourage you that, so remember, you don't have to overhaul your entire life in one day. You just need to take the first step. And so whatever that first step is for you, and that's what you need to do, to get it done, to get moving, so that you can fully walk into the purpose that you were designed, created for. And remember, this is called Empowered to Live. And so I'm empowering you to live the life that you were called out to do. Many of y'all know that I'm back in school. I'm working on my degree in divinity. And lesson on today, we talked about encouraging, someone to win. That we were all created to win. And the question was asked is like, how can you encourage someone to win? How can you do that? And so that was my assignment. How can we're all winners. We are created to win, because the one who gave us the power to overcome lives on the inside of us. And so we have been created to win. We have the power. We have been empowered to live this life, and to live godly. And so we have it on the inside of us. The question is, what are you going to do to be the winner that you need to be? So get up off the couch, put that phone down, and step out and do the thing that you were called to do. You have already been given that command of execution, and now it's time for you to execute it. It's time for you to do it. It's time for you to put aside fear. And we did a series on that too. So there are things. So everything is building on the things that that have come and that I've talked about in the past episodes. So if you're new and you're just now starting out your journey with the Empowered to Live podcast, go to our YouTube channel, at Becoming Woman's Network, and you'll be able to look back at some of the series and episodes that we did on limited beliefs, on overcoming fear, our identity, about performance, and all those different things, and about our mindset. And also, I wrote a mini guide called Your Thoughts Matter. And your thoughts do matter, because that's where it starts. The Bible says, as a man thinks, so he is. And so as if your thinking is limiting, and you have to be able to change your thoughts. And when we change our thoughts, we change the direction, we change the course of our life. And one of those things that we have is the limiting belief of procrastination, because of the fact that, we sometimes are fearful of what it takes for us to do it. And so we freeze. So I just want to encourage you today, take that step. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to start, just like that baby's learning how to walk. and they stumble and they fall, but they get back up and they keep pushing until, and now they're walking. That's going to be you. Like I said, if you look back at some of my early um, episodes, you're like, what is this woman doing? But we've gotten better. We've grown. We went from Facebook Lives. Now I'm on StreamYard, and because of StreamYard, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. And all these different things. We're working on Spotify. Um, that has been a beast to do. And so it's been taking a while to actually figure out how to move all the episodes over there. But we will be on Spotify or iHeartRadio, all those different things. Hopefully by the end of the year, I'll have all the episodes moved over, and then I'll have to move the new ones over. But it'll be a lot easier once we get there. And so we're not wanting to procrastinate with that. So again, thank you for joining me for this week's episode on Breaking Up Our Limitations. Next week, we talk about the art of letting go, purging what no longer serves us. So, again, there are things that hold us back. We've got to let them go. So we're talking about breaking up with limitations. So in that breaking up with limitations, we've got to let go of the stuff that no longer serves us. So what are you holding on to? So you don't want to miss that. Remember, until then, keep walking in faith, keep living with purpose, and remember, limitations don't define you. God's purpose does. So have a wonderful night, and I will see you all next week. Have a great one. Bye.